Hello, work wives. Welcome to the Dear Work Wives podcast. I'm Adrian.
I'm
This
Emily.
is Emily, and we're here to help create work cultures that don't suck. So we got another episode of submissions. Now that we're like live, though, like if you submit last week, like you're gonna be on this week.
Right?
So if you have a question that's something like is a little more timely, or you want to hear your story, or you want us to give feedback, or you just want to share, we're like live now,
We're like recording as they come in.
Yeah,
So
like really timely for you. So
yeah,
please go submit dearworkwives.com. It's anonymous, super easy, and we would love to talk about you. So
yeah. I literally said that on Instagram stories today. Like, I was like, I really want to talk about you. So submit a story.
but really, we do.
But for real, PSA for everyone who's listening, I listened back to the intros of past episodes because I wanted to, listen with fresh ears, get the vibes. I need to stop saying the word like. So that is if you're listening to this and you're feeling as though you can't anymore because I sound like I'm straight out of Sweet Valley High. I'm gonna work on.
She's
I'm working on it.
now.
I have always been working on it, but when I get nervous or excited, especially in some of the early episodes when I was sharing like about my past job history, and I was like, I don't know if I want to share this. Because I had people who I worked with at those places respond, or my family being like confused, had no idea that those were the work environments that I worked in. So
I know. Isn't it so funny when your family, like, I didn't think my family was necessarily going to listen. And then my mom, Mary, listened. She's like, oh, I've been listening to your episodes. I was like, oh, okay.
yeah,
Like, I hope I didn't say anything bad. I don't
I
think I
know.
would swear. There's nothing bad to say, but still.
Totally. I know. So I'm working on
Is that
it.
I just think strangers are going to listen to this and not people that I know. But I am just
It's
so
all people we know.
yeah, because like a lot of people that I know listens. Like a lot of my, I said like 47 times just now too.
Right?
A lot of my local mama friends, a lot of my college friends, my family. So I just want to thank everyone for listening. Someone messaged me, one of my friends, and they were like, "Is your co-host Canadian?"
Really? They could tell by my accent or the
Said,
words
yeah,
I
how
use?
did you know? I think you said the word outside. How do you say outside?
Outside. Outside. How do you
Outside.
say outside? Oh, out. Yeah, it's
That's
different.
what she wrote it. She wrote it out.
Out. Yeah. Yeah. That's funny. I always think I
Yeah.
don't have an accent because I feel like you and I sound similar.
How do you say about?
About. You say more of the ow sound than I do. About. Maybe
About.
not. I don't know.
I
I don't say a boot.
Oh
So
yeah. Send in the words you want Emily to say.
to compare the Canadian versus Florida accent. Because if you put me beside from our RLC team, Gabby or Julie and Sandy, who have more regional accents, I can tell the difference, but I feel like you and I sound very similar.
Do I
So
have a Canadian accent from Florida?
no, I don't know. It's very interesting. Regional dialects are fascinating.
I always thought like being from Florida that I don't really have an accent, but I think that everyone
Exactly.
thinks they don't have an accent, right?
Well, that's how I feel about me being from Ontario. I don't have an accent. I just sound neutral. And that's how I feel about Florida. But it's one of the few states where I feel like they don't have an accent, So very interesting. This is also the first episode we recorded since we saw Taylor Swift. And we are now changed human beings forever.
Have been changed.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. We are forever bonded in this. We basically were baptized in Swiftianity. I mean, I already was, but it was a rebirth.
It was a religious experience for sure.
Yeah.
And if you have the opportunity to go, I'd say that, like, yeah.
Like the tickets are $2,500.
$1 million. But and we were just lucky enough to get them via Ticketmaster. And I still thought that I was like way overpaying.
Yeah.
But now seeing the prices on things like StubHub and like the resale value, I'm like, oh, we got a deal.
We did. Because we got a tote bag too.
I got a tote bag and a sticker or something.
Yeah.
$600 that we paid, but now tickets are like $1,000 for the restricted view, because we went on Thursday night, just to give everyone an idea of how
our weekend
changed. Like we went on Thursday night, and then the whole day, basically Friday and Saturday, because she was playing Friday and Saturday too at the same arena, we were trying to find tickets and see if we could go again.
And I think we were all in my head, I was like, I would pay like $500 again to go.
Yeah.
For a view that I could see.
Yeah, but the tickets were literally $800 to $1,000 for a
behind
restricted view. Like, and we were in the stadium and we had really good seats the first, the time that we went.
Great seats. Yeah.
So we could also see the stadium and see where the restricted views were. And they were literally behind the stage. Like you couldn't see anything. So I'm like, I'm not paying $1,000 to look at the back of the stage.
When I've already been, and I've already spent an exorbitant amount of money.
Correct. So if I hadn't gone, then yes, I would still do that for like maybe my one time.
Yeah. If it's this or nothing.
A little painful. Yeah. A lot of money. But yeah, but that's how good it was. It's like we wanted to go again. I still keep looking online at like other cities.
Every day I look.
Maybe I can like fly to another city and go, but then I'm going to be spending money on a flight and hotel, and I might as well just paid the $1,000 for the
in Florida. I fully that will go down as a regret that we didn't just suck it up and go again. No. But it is what it is.
But it was so good. We have to, really just be thankful for the one night that we did have.
Right. We're going to get tattoos with D. We're going to commemorate it with tattoos.
Because it was just life-changing, truly.
As was the time spent together. I stayed. Yes, the concert was Thursday. I didn't fly home till Sunday. We had a great weekend.
We met a dolphin.
We fed a dolphin.
Nicholas,
thank you. If you have watched the movie Dolphin Tales and have heard of the dolphin winter, it's the same rescue facility.
Yeah.
So
winter has since passed, learned, but Nicholas is there, and he did a trick for us and took a picture with us, and we fed him. Yeah. We can post the picture on Instagram to show you.
Yes. Cool. Oh my gosh, yeah. And Kit talked to me.
Yes, which is a big win.
Huge win. Cora chose. She chose D, and Kit chose me. And the other they did not talk to, but Kit did not. I guess Kit talked to D more than Cora engaged with me for sure. But I also feel like D gave her no choice. Like,
correct.
I was proud of her. But
yeah I was proud of Kit. She did a great job engaging, talking. Oh, yeah. For those of you who don't know, I think I talked about it before. Like, she's going through some therapy.
Yeah.
Have I talked about it? I don't know.
You did on I think even the last episode. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, she's talking more. So she had some moments of anxiety, but overall I think she did great. And
she did incredible.
Ask for anything more,
She held my hand. She walked out of the store with me and left you in the store. She did a great job.
It's a big deal.
Big deal. Yeah. It was great. It was incredible. And now we have nothing to look forward to. And
that's right.
Well, you do, because you're going on a girls' weekend this weekend, but
I am. It's my first time like away from Coco for
it's extended period.
Night. Yeah, for the night.
Team retreat.
Oh, team retreat. I was away from her. Yeah,
for two nights, right? Because they left Saturday and you were home Monday.
Yeah,
but still, it was like 36 hours.
Yeah, and I'm leaving Thursday afternoon and coming home Sunday midday. So I've called in the reserves for Tyler so that
he's got all the support with the backup.
Yeah, our nanny's going to help just because they're a handful together. I had them. So last weekend, since I knew that I was going to be out of town this whole weekend, and Tyler was going to be solo with the girls, I sent him on like a spa day to like take the day for himself, and like I'll handle them solo. And I am confident in my ability to handle them solo. And there were still times when they were a handful, at the same time, like everyone needs something or everyone's fighting with each other.
And so-and-so needs to
take a deep breath.
Okay.
But he gets like more flustered than me. So it'll be good that he has the nanny for some of it so he can like take some breaks too.
Totally. So. Well, that'll be nice.
Yeah, I'm excited and ready to like sleep in.
Mm-hmm.
my friends were like, are we bringing workout clothes? I was like, oh, I'm not.
No.
I'm going to be sleeping in. I'm not going to be spending my mornings working out. Although I probably will wake up early anyways, just because
your body
I've been
clock.
waking up even before my alarm lately. I don't know what that's about, but
Welcome to
parenthood.
You've been conditioned now.
Yeah. I'm trained, officially trained.
But I'm at the point now where I don't actually enjoy sleeping in because I feel like I've wasted the day.
Missed the day.
Because I'm so used to being up early and getting so much done by like in the mornings, I have worked out, had a shower, done my hair and makeup, had breakfast, gotten the kids out the door, and gone for a walk by like 8:30 in the morning. And it feels great. And that's on the weekday. So on the weekend, if we sleep in until 8:30 by the time we roll out of bed, I'm just
you feel like a slob.
I'm like half the day's over, which it isn't. It's something I need to work on because rest is important, but it's just you get so used to the go, you know.
And I used to do that like pre-kids, but I feel like maybe I'm still in my sleep deprived era of
1,000%.
I just still need the sleep. I can't imagine, but maybe I just need to get my body more on the rhythm of like waking up early again. Like I could like wake up early and do a workout.
Don't do it.
I don't know, like read a book or something.
Yeah, no. Coco is just a year.
She just started sleeping through the night. That's the thing. Like she just started sleeping through the night like less than 3 weeks ago. So I think I'm just
it's not the season yet.
I'm still in my sleep deprived moment. So once that's over and I'm like not exhausted throughout the whole day, then I agree. I like to wake up early and like that's like I feel like my natural is like early bird. I don't want to be up late, you know?
No. And I do enjoy an afternoon nap too. So
oh yeah, me too.
Love an afternoon nap.
Like we're doing like girls weekend and you know, it's my college friends, so they like to drink. I went out to like mom's dinner last week just with some of my local mom friends, and I had one drink and I had a major headache. I'm like, I wonder if I'm like allergic to alcohol or something now. I've heard that can happen. Like
I've heard it can happen. Yeah. Bird's Papaya comes to mind. On Instagram, she developed an alcohol allergy and had to give it up altogether.
Because it was like not cute for me, and I literally didn't even finish one drink. And I was like, this is like what's going on?
Not worth it. Yeah.
No.
Especially if you're only gonna have one. You know,
correct. You're not even like
seeing
the benefits.
I'll just have a mocktail. You know,
yeah, exactly.
I'll just sugar. Yeah,
just give me a Shirley Temple, please.
Yeah. I went out with friends to a board game cafe, and I had a Shirley Temple, and it was incredible. Okay, what an underrated cocktail! So good, like mocktail, but also you could add vodka in it, and it would be just as good. So, yeah. Alrighty, we have an update and 3 good stories. I think we should jump in.
An update.
Okay, so I'm going to start with the update. So this is one of the early episodes. It was titled Sick of Playing Games. And there was a story about a retail manager who was really struggling with an insubordinate employee. And the update is that she actually got pregnant, is going on maternity leave anyway.
Wait, which one?
The retail manager. She's like, well, I got pregnant, so I'm going on maternity leave, so none of this matters.
Oh.
So
all right.
I was like, that's a fun update.
That is a fun update.
Yeah.
So it's a win.
It's a win. Yeah.
Oh.
So I just wanted to share that because celebrating all the babies.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay, are you ready for the first story?
I am.
Okay, it's submitted by Confused Leader. I have a team member who doesn't meet our organization's expectations to communicate with clients she's serving. There have been a few no-shows, some of them due to having a death in the family and having emergencies. However, there's no communication to leadership management, so we're unable to communicate this with clients. When it's addressed, the response is, I'll do better, and yes, I should have done that. There is accountability and acknowledgement of why this behavior is wrong, but now it's hard to trust that this behavior will not happen again, and our business may potentially lose clients. Do I trust that the message was received? I worry of becoming hyper-focused and wondering, is she going to show up for her meetings? They need advice. Yeah. Yeah.
This is like the lack of communication is the biggest problem to me, you know, because like, okay, if there's a death in the family or have an emergency, I get it. Like you need to be able to handle those things, but I need to be able to step in and serve the client if you are going to be out. So it's like, to me, it's not a problem if you're out. It is a problem if you don't tell me that you're out so that I can step in and support the business needs, you know?
Exactly. This is a process problem, I think, when it's, you know, there should be, or we can create a process where if there's an emergency, you have someone you notify, and then steps 1, 2, and 3 happen.
Yeah.
So if you're ever in an emergency, you tell me, and then I can go in and rebook your calls or take over calls or whatever needs to happen. Because I agree, you shouldn't be, you know, if you have a full day and something happens, you don't have the time to address everyone on your calendar. You should be able to go to someone else on your team to like handle that for you.
Yeah. Like, and I've done that before. I've been like, Emily, like, I can't be there today or whatever because of X, Y, and Z. Like, can you communicate to all of my clients or whatever that like we'll reschedule, you know? And like, maybe you might take some of those over, or you might reschedule them, but like, it's not me going in and having to reschedule all those,
spending a half an hour, you know, sending all the emails
of whatever emergency is happening. I get that, but I think you have to have a process for like communicating to that point person, whoever that point person is going to be. So I agree, like we need a process in place. And then to me, if the process is not being followed, then that is grounds for like a performance, you know, improvement plan or a dismissal, right? Because it's part of your job to communicate with me so that we can support our clients, you know. It's not just a oopsies, like it can't just be an oopsie daisy, you know?
Yeah. I think this is a case of needing to put a company-wide process in place and establishing who the point communications are, and maybe even having a backup in case of vacations or something like that. So it's very clear what to do, because then also the transparency creates very little opportunity to hide behind not doing the thing.
Right. And then that would also maybe help with like the accountability, because, you know, part of this leader's challenge is like not being able to trust that this isn't going to happen again, you know? But like, if we're together, like working on a process, and I think that's also my piece of advice is like, do this together, like create the process as a team so that all the people involved have some say in like, what's the best way to approach something like this so that they can feel seen and heard and like they're able to contribute to the process creation. But that there's this level of like, okay, so now everybody knows what happens and we're all kind of agreeing to it and agreeing that like this is the best way to do things when X, Y, or Z emergency situation happens. And that hopefully will give you a little bit more trust and confidence that like we're all on the same page here and this is not just going to happen again, you know?
Yeah. So. And again, this is an opportunity. This is the situation where you have to give people enough space. This is Siri again.
Siri, she like always picks the most inopportune times to jump in.
You have to give people enough space to prove you right or prove you wrong.
Yeah,
depending on which,
gotta let them sink or swim.
Yeah, sink or swim. That's the analogy. The other one was coming to mind, was not the one I wanted to say, but yes, you gotta allow them to sink or swim. And if you have processes in place, then it's much easier to come at them with data points versus feelings when things go wrong.
Yes, that's so true. Like now we put the process in place. If that process is not followed now in the future, they're sinking themselves, right? Like, so then it gives you more clarity on like, this is just not going to work, right?
Yeah.
But if they show up and do what needs to be done and they swim, great. Right now you can trust more, but I agree that like the process needs to happen first so that everyone's on the same page and you have something to point to concretely.
Yeah. And I know she said there were a few no-shows, and for some were for emergencies, so not all of them. Just put a policy in place around zero tolerance for
no-shows
because then it's easier again for you to have data points or put PIPs in place that have actual reference points and are not just based on feelings. So good luck. Let us know how it goes.
Okay, ready for the next one?
Yes.
Okay, this one's in They Just Need to Vent. Their name is Why Bother? They said, I'm being lifted and shifted to a new department at work to do the same thing I do now, but expanded for a larger team. I'm totally underwater already and have been for over a year. I was supposed to be getting more support, and when the position request went through HR, stopped it. So instead of getting help, I get no one and get more work. Oh no.
Right.
Can you say no?
I mean, I theoretically you could say no, but it sounds like it would potentially be
Result in no job, right?
no job. Yeah. It's frustrating because when you are already like burnt out, struggling in your role, to then be given more responsibility because, you know, they either know that you are the type of employee who can't say no or won't say no, or, you know, maybe they have, this doesn't sound like the case of my company has, you know, more confidence in me than I have in myself. This sounds like someone who is being overworked and feels trapped in that role.
Yeah, because like more work with less support, you know, I would also be asking at least for a raise, for a title, you know, like I would be asking for more if you haven't already. I know that, you know, sometimes it's not going to happen, but if there's like clear evidence that you're doing more and getting less support, then you need to be compensated in some way for that. And sometimes money also isn't enough. And it's just like, I need to put more boundaries in place and just maybe start looking for a new culture and a new position, which is easier said than done. But yeah, like at what point, like, I think that some corporate cultures are just going to push you as hard as they can until someone says stop, yeah, or you break, right? And like some people just won't say stop and they take advantage of that. And so I think sometimes we think we can't say no, or we can't, like, but maybe could you, like, maybe could you push back a little bit? Could you demand more support? Like you were going to be getting more, you know, they approved more support in the other position, but now you're in a new position where you're doing more. So it's like, why are they not going to approve support there? Right. Maybe we need to push a little harder. And I know you're just wanting to vent, but it's just, I can't like not give my advice, I guess.
Do you see yourself in this story as well? It sounds a lot like your corporate journey.
Yeah, like I've been there and I definitely did not push, right? Like I did not push for anything because I was scared of the repercussions. So I also know that, like, I know that feeling of feeling like I don't want to jeopardize my growth or, you know, how people think of me. Like I want to be seen as like this team player who will do it all so that I can like continue to grow and be the VP or whatever it is that I'm like shooting for.
Right.
So while there were things that I would push on, it was more like project focused things that I had opinions on. But when it came to like protecting myself, I would never speak up, you know?
Right.
So I feel like I could have, you know, now like hindsight,
you could have gotten more.
Maybe I could have gotten more. I know I could have gotten more money.
Yeah.
We did put, I remember vividly when Tyler, he wanted more vacation days. And so he was going to swap he asked explicitly, could I swap my bonus, my raise for an extra week of vacation? Because we only had 5 days vacation, which is absurd.
Criminal.
Especially because our holidays were very minimal too, because we worked at a paper mill. So like the only like
you were getting the stats and all that.
Yeah, like we weren't getting even like Christmas Eve was not like a holiday, you know? So like you had to use a vacation day if you wanted to take Christmas Eve off. So but they flat out told him no, that he couldn't trade his bonus money for more days off. And I'm like, but why? Because it's like it costs you nothing to give him more days off, you know? Like so I don't know, I feel for you in that position, but I think it's also a kind of a time to reflect on like what you really want in your life. And is this the path you want to continue? Because maybe it's not something you can leave right now because of financial reasons, but maybe you need to put a 3 to 5 year plan in place to get out or to do something different or to start that job search or to start your own business or whatever your desires are. But you can't just accept being pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed and overworked and overworked and overworked for the rest of your life and expect a different outcome, right? Like you either are going to have to put more boundaries in place or you're going to have to choose a different path, I think.
Yeah. Easier said than done. We're not
Totally.
here to pretend that it's, anything other than challenging, especially when you feel like you've worked so hard for
get where you are. Yeah.
to get where you are, to then,
Mhm.
kind of learn that maybe
Mhm.
you're not valued the way that you
Totally.
need to be. But
it's all a choice too, right? Like
yeah,
it's a choice. The devil you know sometimes is better than the devil you don't know. I get that, right? I have a lot of friends locally who like stay at positions that I'm like, why are you staying there? But I get that like that's the reality of where they are right now.
yeah,
And but I always try to encourage them, like, you don't have to deal with that, like, but there might be some hard years in between.
yeah,
Like I had some hard years like making my transition to entrepreneurship. People see me now and they're like, oh, you're so lucky you get to like make your own schedule. And I'm like, yeah, I do now because I worked my ass off to like get where I am. And I had to make some really hard decisions
yeah,
about leaving the safety and security of a corporate job. Those were not like easy things to do, but I did, step out on a limb and make those choices at the time. So
yeah,
like you can have a different reality, but I agree it will take time and it will take concerted effort and it will be hard sometimes, but if it's what you want for the rest of your life, it's kind of worth it,
exactly. Short term versus long term,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
What I did when I was in my corporate job is like I looked at the people who were like in the positions that I thought I
You
wanted to be
wanted.
in,
Mm-hmm.
and I looked at their lives and I was like, no. It just became very obvious to me that like I don't want that. Like the sacrifices that they were making for the corporation in terms of like some of them lived in different states as their spouses. That was like
Yeah, absolutely no.
they would ask people to live in a different location as their spouse and it was just normalized, or like, and they wouldn't like even live with their kids because their kids are
Yeah,
with the other spouse or whatever. um People who had sacrificed like having children because they were just so focused on their jobs and careers, and you could
yeah,
tell that there was like some regret there. Like I was just like the overworking, I was like, no, it's not gonna be me at
yeah,
50.
yeah. Unless I can retire at 45, then sure.
But no, they weren't.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
They're not hockey players who are making those sacrifices for their 12 good years of playing the sport, but they're making $100 million in the meantime.
No. So I
Wow.
think that's a good practice. Like look at the people above you and just decide if that is in alignment with your values and what you want for your own life. Because
Yeah.
more than likely that's what the path is,
Yeah. Good reminder. All right. Should we do our last story?
Yep.
Okay. This one's submitted by Looking for Love, which
Oh,
I love
interesting.
creative names. Okay. So a current employee, we'll call them employee A. So A was concerned about a coworker. B, he heard taking a phone call from a recruiter. When A asked his coworker what that was about, B replied matter of factly, I interview for jobs weekly. Something wrong with that? I recently chatted with employee B and brought up the topic of their career with us. They stated they'll be with us for a long time, and then in brackets, they put 3 to 6 months, which is not a long time. But if they're offered a job for more money, they'll go there regardless of how much he likes working for us. So 2 things. A, should I start looking for a replacement ASAP and be open about it with B, the person who's interviewing, or be discreet about it? Is there a different way I should approach this? I want employees to be upfront if they're looking for work so we don't get surprises at the last minute before they leave us. And then B, how can I think about retention? We don't offer the highest pay, but allow a lot of creative freedom and autonomy, fair hours, and the ability to help a lot of customers in a meaningful way.
Juicy.
Juicy. I think it's really, really bold to take a phone call from a recruiter in an
Company
environment
hours.
where other people can hear you.
While you're getting paid
Yeah.
by company A.
I have absolutely had to go on job interviews and take time off for a dentist appointment or a doctor's appointment, because how else are you supposed to do it?
True.
And I've never had the ability to quit one job and be unemployed.
Yeah.
You know, I had to have the next job lined up.
Good point. But like in the office.
Openly. Absolutely not. I mean, there's, again, to employee B's point, there's nothing wrong with interviewing for other jobs. It's a good skill to I have so many people who are like, I don't really want the job, but I'm going to go on the interview because it's good practice, you know? There's nothing wrong with keeping your options open, because on the other side of the coin, like, we're all very replaceable as well. So
yeah, my dad always told me, like, when I was in the corporate world, he was like, always be looking, always be
have your resume ready.
Because they don't care about you. They'll let you go in a second, right?
Especially
in corporate environments.
Yeah. If something happens to you, you're going to be replaced tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, if I were to call, like, and that's not always in a bad way, but if I were to call, get a call to you tomorrow, Adrian, be like, I have terminal cancer, you're going to have to replace me, like,
very extreme. Yes.
But you know what I mean? Like, if something happens, even in the most like loving, supportive way where I say, I need to leave this company, you have to replace me.
Correct. Yeah.
That's the business, right? So we're all replaceable.
Actually, we're just shutting down.
No.
We're ending.
No. But on company hours is wild to me.
Like in the office. Yeah. Like I agree. Like, okay, maybe just say you have a dentist appointment and go take your call. Wait, you had a dentist appointment this morning.
I did have that was a real dentist appointment. My mouth is so sore. I promise it was a real dentist appointment. I have a cavity. I'm getting it filled on May 26th.
Here. Do you have an interview this morning?
Yeah. But in terms of should I start looking for a replacement? That's a great, how do you feel as an employer? What do you think that they should be looking for a replacement?
My first instinct is, okay, the communication of employee B when he was talking with this leader about the career path, like he stated he'll be with us for a long time. But he explicitly said if he's offered a job for more money, he'll go there regardless of how much he likes working for us. So as a leader, like, to me, I'm digging into that more. Like, I want to better understand that, right? Like, because I think for some people, maybe their primary motivation is money. But like, what is his number? What are some of his goals professionally? Like, what are his motivations? What are what's his dream job? Like, not just what is he doing in that dream job, but like, what are the
holistically, what does that look like?
Yeah, holistically, like, what does that look like, so that I can get a pulse on whether or not we have a future together and I can actually create that, or if this person is just with me for a season and I actually can't provide them with what they want. And I think that's fair. I think it's nice when people are honest, like, so that we can all be on the same page openly of like, okay, if salary is the most important to you, and this is the salary that you want, and I know that, like, I'm not going to be able to realistically get you there for 3 to 5 years, and that's not going to work for you, then I think we can be open with this person to say, okay, then, like, I'm just like, you keep looking for your jobs, right? Because you're already doing that. And like, yeah, I may open the pipeline to start interviewing people who may be a better, more permanent fit, or a more longer term fit for my organization, where I actually can meet their needs, right? But I think some of this also maybe could be avoided in interviews, maybe not, because some people might just say certain things to get in. But I also think in certain companies, especially if you have a lot of open roles all the time, like, you should have a pipeline of like, always be interviewing, always be recruiting, so that it's less like, oh, I'm replacing this one person, and more like, oh, we found really good talent and maybe we're ready to bring them in a couple months, or we have them kind of like in the back burner, so that we can reach out to. We have this like pool of people that we can reach out to when this person does leave. So I think, the idea of like always be recruiting could be a good practice for this person, so that they're not feeling like, oh, I'm replacing this one individual, and you don't have to be discreet about it, but just like always be interviewing, just like they're kind of always maybe interviewing and looking for something else.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd want to dig in more with the individual to see if that's really true. And if that is really true, then I think you can be open about, I mean, you might want to be mindful of like, are you in a bind where if they leave immediately, then that's going to put you in a rough position? And if so, then maybe be more discreet, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like they're ready to immediately leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you feel about, I want other employees to be upfront if they're looking for work so we don't get surprises? Like, how, I feel like even as a team member, if I knew that my team members were actively looking for other roles, I feel like I would have a hard time continuing to invest in their work. And if it's just a matter of time, like a countdown clock. Do you want to know?
Yeah, personally, I think it would depend on the reason that they're leaving. I think if it's
maxed
like
out their growth or something,
or like, oh, they have this dream, career path that like doesn't match up with what we do, and like they have this opportunity,
or they're moving, or
they're moving. I
think like a life transition.
Yeah, there's circumstances where like someone really is invested in your company and your growth, and they can remain invested until it's time for their next thing, and there's no like hard feelings or awkwardness. Like I had a previous team member in my personal brand, Adrienne Dorson, like consulting business, and her husband started a SaaS product, and there was no hard feelings or animosity. Like it really, and she did like work until the day that we were ready to transition, but it was like, it was the next step for her. It was the next step for growth. And if she would have remained with us, then it would have eventually, gone south, because she probably would have had resentment, but we left at a good place. And so I think that there are times when you can leave at a good place, where I would want to know. But I guess I only want to know if you're leaving for good reasons and not just because you hate me.
Or because you're unhappy with,
or because you're unhappy. But I kind of do want to know that.
I do want to know that. If they
don't think that people would be transparent about that, I guess, is my thing,
if someone were to come to me and say, I think I need to exit this company because the culture does not work for me.
Totally.
I would want to know that, because I want to know if there's something that we can change, because if you're feeling that way, other people are feeling that way.
Yeah.
But I also recognize that it might be too late for this to be repaired.
Agree. Like I want to know that, but I also know that by that time, the runway is probably very short of how long I can keep them on the team, like, because if they're already frustrated, but the goal is to never get to that point, right? Like why we're always having like conversations about like what's going well, what's not going well, and trying to navigate those things so that people don't get to that like breaking point. And then they're like, I'm out of here, or the culture is bad, I have to go. Because I agree, in that instance, I still want to know, but I doubt that someone is going to tell you with like 3 months, I hate the culture here, but I'm not leaving for 3 more months so you can find someone else.
It's going to be like on an exit interview or something, or when they give their notice.
Yeah. And if they did tell me that with like 3 months to go, I would probably be like, we probably got to get you out sooner, because they're probably disengaged. There's probably toxicity, within the team already, if we're at that point. So I think it's a nice like thought, but I think it depends on the circumstance if someone's going to be willing to share that up front.
There'd have to be a lot of like mutual respect, leader to team member, for someone to be that open and feel like it's going to be well received. Because if they've gotten to the point that they're leaving because they're unhappy
and you don't know yet,
you don't know, or you don't understand the scale and scope of it, there's not enough trust there.
Yeah, like that's my thought, is like, if one of my team members came to me and was like, unhappy I have to leave, like I've already missed the boat, like I should have been having these like I should know, like it should not be a surprise, because they say I want other employees to be upfront if they're looking for work, so we don't get surprises at the last minute before leaving us. Some things you're just like, maybe it's not the culture, maybe it's, but I think again, like you need to be having those conversations, like what is your dream job? How can I help create that for you? Like always looking to help improve that, and they need to know that you want them around and you value them, and you're changing their role and the work culture to fit their needs because they're valued, and you're working towards that. Not, oh my God, you're leaving now, I want to change things, right? Like that doesn't come off as sincere. And so I think you're never going to get someone telling you those things if they don't already have that trust with you. And if they already have that trust with you, they're going to tell you way in advance of them leaving. They're going to tell you when they're frustrated. They're going to tell you when this thing is happening and they don't like it, or they're going to tell you when I'm doing this part of my role, but I hate it. Like, can you get me out of here? Like you should already be having those conversations before it hits a breaking point, and then you will not have surprises. I think there will always be the one-off surprise that like,
because people are just really good at faking it, or they need the money more than they need anything else. So
right, and that's what their values are, and you can't compete with that sometimes.
And then if in terms of employee retention, we don't offer the highest pay, but we allow a lot of creative freedom and autonomy, fair hours, and the ability to help. I mean, what else can you do? Like you can afford to pay what you can afford to pay, and that has to be the numbers that you stick with. Otherwise you're going to you're not going to be in business anymore. So
right, I think being transparent about that, I think the interview process can help with the retention process, right? Like making sure you're getting the right fit and understanding like what their values are and what is most important to them. Obviously paying a living wage, very important. And then these other things become, the bonus, the benefits that other places don't provide. And then I think having like a culture that they want to be a part of, so making sure they're a match for that, and then continuing to invest time and energy and care into your team, so that you're, again, like having those conversations so that basically everything we just talked about, like so that like what do they want more of, what do they want less of, how can you support them, can you make those changes, can you be honest with them if you can't make those changes, versus just like selling them something that is never going to happen. I think that will immediately frustrate people and they'll want to leave. So just continuously investing in the team, which I think is the juice is worth the squeeze there,
Absolutely.
But a lot of people don't recognize that until it's too late.
And I think also having transparent conversations, as transparent as you're comfortable around financials, and just being like, when we hit, like my goal is to pay people XYZ, but we need to hit at this point in revenue / profit. And so we're all working together to hit that point. And so having that kind of laid out, so you can acknowledge the elephant in the room of, I'm aware that we are not the most competitive salary. This is where I'm working to get, but we need to hit this revenue.
This is where the business needs to go so that we can do that. And I think that's a great point, because we are pretty transparent with our team about like what our goal, like we're not the highest paying, but we want to pay more, and it's not for lack of trying. It's just, we need to be making this much money to be paying everybody this much. And so everyone on the team knows that, and they know that it's not just like some pipe dream, but it's like, we as a unit are working towards this, because the money is going to go back into our team members' pockets. It's not just like Adrian taking all the money home,
right.
Which sometimes CEOs
is
do,
what it is.
And sometimes that is like a fair compensation for yourself, but also just giving them goals and trajectories to work towards as well.
Well, those were our stories for today.
Well, I loved them. So thank you, everyone.
Some juicy ones today. Again,
hope that we were helpful. If not, hope that we were entertaining,
And please submit your stories at dearworkwives.com so we can talk about you.
Again, we want to talk about you next week. We need 3 stories for next week. So and if you have an update, if you were one of the stories, also please go submit that, dearworkwives.com, or you can just message us on Instagram.
Absolutely. And let
We'll
us
take an
know.
update.
Let us know what's going on. Again, past, present, spouse's story. It doesn't need to be anything you're currently going through. It can just be something that happened in the past or that your husband's going through, because I feel like I would love to share some of James's stuff, but then I'm probably shouldn't.
We can do them anonymously.
Yeah. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll submit a story.
Don't say, yeah, submit it, but don't say that it's James. Don't even tell me.
Yeah, okay. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, see if I can guess afterwards.
Yes.
I'll be like, I'll text you. Was that
Yeah.
James?
Was that James' story? We're gonna do that every time now. Yeah.
Yeah. Was that one his? Was that one his?
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Well.
All right. Well, see
you
you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday.
All right.